Well, speaking of that, I brought some grass-fed cow heart.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just, I wanted to see if you were really about that life. So, I brought this right here for you. And I just want to see if you can eat this on camera. I'm gonna ask you some questions. Now, can you actually bring it up here, like so the camera can see it? I want them to see that you're actually eating this.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's raw cow heart.
So let me find a piece.
As you're eating that, though, I do. All right, man. We at the Hit House Chicago, and man, this interview is gonna be one for the books, man. I always say this, but man, I don't be doing the interviews, bro. But I got some crazy shit I gotta bring up with you, bro. So before we even get to all that, let the people know who you are.
My name's Ashton. I'm a nutritionist out of Southeast Wisconsin, and I eat raw meat. So we're gonna talk about that today.
So okay, so raw meat, right? Look, where did that shit get started though, bro? Because I've seen your videos, bro, and it's just fucking insane. Like I've never seen somebody eat. You're eating raw chicken. You're eating fucking brain, bro. Like this is Jeffrey Dahmer shit. So I need to know, like, what the fuck? How did this shit start, bro?
So I mean, I started off just dieting like everybody else back in like 2017. A long time ago. Just trying to deal with weight issues, digestive issues, things like that. And I went down the same path that everyone else would go down, try to go majority plant-based, eat a lot of fruits, vegetables, whole grain. If I would eat meat, it would be real lean, chicken breast, fish, something like that. I quickly realized that didn't work for me. I was able to lose a little bit of weight in a short period of time and then it'll come back. It wasn't sustainable for me. The food tasted like shit. There's no salt, no fat, and I was hungry all the time. And
what tastes like shit?
The food that I was eating, trying to be healthy.
What were you eating? Like what?
I was eating. Okay, so I would have like chicken breast that I would bake in the oven, brown rice, and
I love that, bro.
That's fire. So I can't do it, But I didn't know how to cook at the time. Baked chicken. I like baked chicken, but
have you been to Puerto Rico?
I never been to Puerto Rico.
That's why you do this shit. But go ahead.
Yeah, I ain't never been to Puerto Rico, but
they got good cooked meat over there.
It was just mainly me being hungry all the time, So I did a little more research in the diet, things like that. Found keto. I did keto for probably close to 5-6 years.
What's keto exactly?
And keto is just low carb, high fat. So
eliminating carbs.
I cut out all the carbohydrates and I upped the fat intake. And
is that like your boy with the carnivore? That's like a carnivore diet, basically.
Yeah, carnivore is like supercharged version of keto.
Okay.
So I did keto for a long time, had a lot of success on keto, and then eventually switched to pure carnivore. And then I got certified as a nutritionist, started helping people lose weight, things like that. The deeper I dug and the more I read, I'll go down these rabbit holes and eventually led me to the raw diet. I did a lot of reading, a guy named Ogenus, and studies from people like Francis Pottinger and, all kinds of shit, all kinds of studying kind of brought me here, a lot of research, a lot of reading. And
so before we get to that,
here I am,
So you started this whole journey just on you felt you weren't healthy though?
Yeah.
Like what were like some things that you were feeling like that was like, oh shit, like I feel like this is pretty bad?
Well, first of all, growing up, I was always real lean and athletic. And,
okay.
In my early 20s, after I had my first child, you kind of settle down and become a homebody.
Get the dad bod.
So I got that, and I wasn't feeling that. And
it's fine. Yeah,
shortly after that, I started to have digestive issues. A lot of could have been IBS, could have been early signs of colitis, things like that. I don't know. I never went and got diagnosed, but
you get the symptoms.
Yeah, some symptoms, a little bleeding on the toilet, shit like that.
Oh, that's insane.
Yeah, eventually, I tried to take my health into my own hands with diet. And
you look mad healthy though now. I gotta say, like, I think you look more healthy now than back when I first met you.
Yeah, that's what everybody says.
Yeah, bro.
When you're healthy, you can see it on the exterior.
Yeah, that's crazy though. No, hey, glad to see it. But so look, so you went down the rabbit hole, right? What were like some things that like was like, okay, like I want to try this, or what was some like videos maybe or research you've seen that was like, oh shit, like I think this is the way that life should be? Because I was telling you off camera, you know, I feel that a lot of the stuff that we were taught as humanity is like false. I feel like a lot of the things or practices that we are into right now wasn't always like that before, you know?
Right.
So what was some things that I guess you've seen that was like, okay, like I think this is real. This is the truth.
Well, the further I pushed the whole diet nutrition thing, the more I started to look at diet outside of the context of like studies and data, and more inside the context of like human biology and evolution, you know, who we are as a species and where we came from. Because our ancestors, they might have had a shorter life expectancy because those were harsher times to live in, you know. And when I say ancestors, I mean like the cavemen and things like that. But they weren't dying of obesity and disease, and, you know, they weren't dying of metabolic disease, at least. You know, they didn't have diabetes, they didn't have cancer. And that was due to the fact that they ate a species-specific diet, you know. Every animal on this planet has their own species-specific diet that they just know instinctively what to eat.
Break that down, because that sounds like Chinese.
So cows, you know, a cow, for instance, it knows to eat grass. Nobody has to tell it to eat grass.
Like a food chain, kind of.
The lions, they know to eat meat. No one has to tell them. And nature does this on purpose. Every animal has their own specific food supply, and it's a balancing act, you know, and it's designed this way to keep certain animals from competing over the same food source and things like that. So the thing about human beings, where we went wrong, is we became too advanced and we started creating our own food. You know, we went from being hunter-gatherers, which we were for a million or so years, they say. And then
now people are eating shark and shit.
About 15,000 years ago, we entered the agriculture era, you know, where we start cultivating and crops, potatoes, things like that. And just a few hundred years ago, we moved from the agriculture era to the manufacturing era. And the manufacturing era is where disease became rampant, you know. Now we're not just hunting meat.
Why is that?
Because now we're creating our food in laboratories.
Oh,
you know, and this is,
so it's chemical.
It's chemical based, and it's refined carbohydrates. You know, everything has got artificial ingredients, preservatives, emulsifiers, additives, all these things that they sneak into our food to make them toxic to the human body.
You think it's purpose, or you think it's more of like for the purpose of preservatives?
I think there's two sides to it. I don't think everybody who's involved in the food industry are evil and things like that, but it's definitely, you know, corporate interests and industry and all that plays a huge role. And, you know, a lot of these people, a lot of these manufacturers, they know the detriment of what they're doing. They know their products are harmful and addictive, but they also have billions of dollars to pay scientists to come up with their own science to protect their products and things like that. So they get away with it, you know, and it's all a big cycle. The biggest funders of the pharmaceutical industry are the people who stock the grocery stores with the junk food. You know, people like Kellogg's and General Mills and all these corporations, they fund all the charities that supposedly fight disease. And, you know, they're all intertwined in this big circle. So, you know, you eat their food, they get you sick, then you go and you're on their medication for life, and you treat the symptoms till you die. And
would you say that it's changing though? Because I feel like with the internet being as strong and accessible, and like the information is a lot more accessible to the average person, where like I feel like we're learning about people out of the country eat better than us. The chemicals they put in the same brand, but different chemicals over and what is it, like Europe and stuff like that. And then in the United States, it's like there's mad chemicals, you know, where it's a lot more harmful when you're eating in America rather than out of the country. So would you say they're changing it or no?
Well, we definitely have access to be able to connect with the people who can give us the right information. The problem is there's so much nonsense clouding up the right information that it's hard to know who to trust and who to listen to. And another thing about it is the foods that we grow up eating, you know, the cereals, the pastas, the pizza, the bread, the oatmeal, this is all sugar and they're all refined products. You know, none of this stuff grows on trees. They want to make you feel like this is part of a balanced breakfast and this is healthy, but it's not. These are man-made Frankenstein foods that cause disease.
Is wheat bad?
Wheat is bad because wheat is a grain and grain is inflammatory, and you know
so we shouldn't be eating wheat.
We shouldn't be eating wheat. Okay. No mammal on earth should be eating that.
Can you give us like maybe like let's just say 4. Give us like 4 foods that we always eat that we should definitely like stay away from. Wheat being one of them.
So, right? More broader than just wheat, I would say grains in general.
Grains.
I would stay away from grains. I would stay away from refined carbohydrates. I would stay away from
give me examples because I don't
know.
So
refined carbohydrates is a carbohydrate that does not come from the earth, like potatoes and fruit.
French fries.
Yeah, that's a refined. That's a refined carbohydrate.
We all know French fries.
So something like potatoes, fruit.
Okay.
These things come from the earth. You know, they're still high in sugar, and if you got a lot of weight to lose, I would recommend you avoid them as well. But it's not the end of the world if you eat a potato or an orange or something like that. Now, things like bread, pasta, cereal, crackers, biscuits, waffles, things like that, those are man-made foods. They don't grow on trees. You're not going to find bread growing out of a bush in your backyard.
I'm about to eat this biscuit here.
You know?
I'm like looking at the biscuit.
So that's the problem. And going back to what you were saying, like we definitely have the technology to have access to the information and know better. But these foods, along with being too high in sugar and full of harmful ingredients, they're highly addictive. And the problem with that is addiction defies logic. You know, you can go and learn all the information. That don't mean you're going to beat the addiction.
Yeah, that's me as fuck.
So it's a
that's me as fuck.
It's a fight, you know. It's a fight for real. It's not as easy as just I went and learned. You know, you got to really. It's a mind game, and it takes a lot of discipline at first. But
I do believe that though, because I know when I got on my fitness journey, I never drank water and appreciated water the way I do now. Like I swear, like I would drink a lot of juice. I would drink a lot of soda. That's what everybody does, you know? But it's like now that I'm in a fitness journey, I could tell you like I crave water. So it makes sense that like, look, if you were to able to, you know, eliminate it, you would see like it's not that hard. But just getting to that point where you can do that, you know, like I would think that's
and
like a hard journey.
It's just as addictive as cocaine, you know? The only difference between refined sugar and cocaine is that refined sugar kills more people.
Yeah,
they're both the same. They both stimulate the same part of the brain's reward center. They both do the same thing. One of them might not get you high and have you yelling at traffic or nothing like that, but you know it's still gonna kill you.
Don't do sugar and don't do cocaine.
The symptoms are still gonna be apparent on the exterior. You know, you're gonna gain weight. You know, diabetes, metabolic disease, things like that, and you can see that radiating off a person. You know, when they're diabetic or pre-diabetic, they'll be overweight. They'll have the black ring around their neck, skin tags, and they'll have shit breath. And, you know, that's from sugar. And a lot of people don't know that. You know?
They're always mad. Like, you ever see that? People there?
Yeah, sugar has a lot to do with that, too. You know, it messes with your endorphins, your dopamine, your serotonin, everything gets thrown off balance, you know. And in order to balance it back out, you got to eat more sugar. Okay. So the addiction continues.
Right. Because your cells are craving it.
Yeah. Your cells. The cells run on glucose for the average person. Even though we're beings of a ketogenic metabolism, we're not supposed to run on glucose. You're supposed to run on your own stored body fat. The problem is we use glucose as our primary fuel source, so the cells can use that. But you're on this constant roller coaster where the glucose burns up and you need more of it. Yeah. Whereas the fat is a more efficient fuel, you know? You have it stored and you can utilize it at any time. And that's how, when you go low carb and you eliminate the sugar, that's how you get rid of the stubborn fat. You know, a lot of people will lose weight, but they have just this little stubborn layer that they can't get rid of, you know? And you got to go low carb to tap into that. It don't matter how much
I
exercise,
like my carbs,
you know?
Yeah. But no, I get that, man. That's what's up, bro. So would you say, how long have you been on this journey though?
I've been on what I would consider the right path, almost 10 years, probably 8-9 years.
Oh, so you got to explain the wrong path then.
But I've been dieting, you know, for probably about 12 years, maybe a solid 10, you know.
So you got a decade in it.
About that, you know, and
At one point, did
the
you
first
realize
the first year or two, I feel like I was on the wrong path,
Okay.
you know. And then after that, I kind of wised up, went the ketogenic route, eliminated everything artificial and processed, and seen a lot of results there. And then just pushed it further and further as I progressed through it.
Have you seen that video of the guy that ate a raccoon?
So yeah, I definitely seen that.
We got to talk about that,
people
bro.
keep sending me that video, and I'm not against, you know, I'm in full support of that guy. You know what I'm saying?
He's doing the similar thing.
Yeah, I'm in full support. The only thing I'm not going to get behind is eating roadkill.
So if I brought a squirrel right now, you wouldn't eat it?
I wouldn't eat that.
Okay.
Just because I'm real big on the purity and quality of the animals that I consume, you know. Not to judge the guy. I don't know his situation or nothing like that. It's just the problem with these smaller inner city mammals is that, you know, obviously they're not out grazing in the pastures. You know, they're digging in the garbage and they're eating out the dumpsters. So they become inoculated with these toxins. They get stored in the adipose tissue, and then we go to eat them. And that's when the raw meat diet becomes questionable, you know? And,
bro, he was eating that shit right off the
yeah,
street.
and I'm not saying you can't do it, because in this community, there are a lot of people who do eat roadkill, and they seem to be doing fine. So
a lot.
I'm not saying it can't be done. I'm just saying, like,
is your algorithm on your Facebook, it shows you all these people? Because like that shit does not pop up.
My people all send them to me.
Oh, so you just get, yeah.
So I can't tell you how many times people have sent me that video of that raccoon dude, you know. But I mean, shout out to him.
What's his name?
I don't have no idea.
I went on his page because I was fucking. I think it was because I started watching your videos and that shit popped up. I don't know.
Yeah.
But when I seen it, I seen the raccoon shit. But then I watched his other videos, and he wasn't just eating roadkill. He eats like the same thing. Like he'll eat like food out of like meat out of jewel, and he's just eating it raw.
Yeah, that's cool. You know that I'm in full support of that. You know, I can't get down with the roadkill thing. You know, if there was ever a point where eating the raw meat would be risky or questionable, it would be in that circumstance. So that's the only thing I can't get behind. But other than that, yeah, I fully support them.
How do your people like your boys and like your family take this whole journey of yours? Like, do they support it, or they?
So my friends, they kind of laugh. You know, they go like this motherfucker crazy. You know. And,
I mean, you kind of are, bro.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't mind. You know, I don't. This way of eating obviously comes with a lot of pushback and criticism, and I welcome it. You know. Because I know I could sit down and break it down to somebody who's actually curious.
For sure.
And I know a lot of people are jumping on this movement, and a lot of them, you know, I don't know where their head's at in it. Some of them just do it because they seen it went viral and they want to go viral, or, you know, some of them are these really outlandish characters who paint a negative image for the movement. And I try to get as far away from that as possible, you know, but I don't push this on anybody. I don't make my family do it. I don't make my kids do it. You know, my kids will come in and they'll like laugh at me while I do it. And, you know, and they've told me like, hey, you need to make a TikTok, you need to do this. And I tried to make a TikTok. I got like 20,000 and got banned right away. And people get to hating, you know.
Well, I want to appreciate you for taking this interview, because, you know, I know that you don't do this for clout.
Right.
But I think that it's really important that people who have the type of education and information that you do have to spread it. You know what I'm saying? Like at some point, you know, you were doing this for yourself, but, you know, I think what you're doing is a lot bigger than yourself. You know? So I definitely appreciate you taking this interview for that.
I appreciate you having me, brother.
No doubt. So was there ever a time that you ate something and you thought you would die? Like, did you ever eat like or in the beginning, you know, like, fuck, like I could get really sick. You know what I'm saying? Was there ever like you question yourself on that?
So the first time I ever ate raw meat, it was a raw steak, and I wasn't really scared of getting sick, because even on a cooked carnivore diet, which I was on for a long time, I would eat organs raw, just because of everything I read about them. You know, I had done enough research and I took my nutrition serious enough for long enough that step wasn't such a big step for me as it would have been for somebody else, you know. So transitioning to full raw wasn't super scary. I wasn't paranoid about, getting any disease or virus. And I never ate anything that made me feel sick. I never had a stomach ache, never had a headache.
Not once?
Digestive
The
issues.
Transition, nothing?
Reflux, nothing. But I did experience a lot of that on what people would consider a normal diet, And that's the irony of it.
That's insane. I mean, yeah. I get acid reflux sometimes, like if I'm eating fucking a spicy tamale or something, you know what I'm saying? But like, I just feel like with eating raw meat would just the transition, your stomach wouldn't like it,
Yeah, your stomach loves it.
Yeah, well, speaking of that, fucking, I brought some grass-fed cow heart.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just, I wanted to see if you were really about that life. So, I brought this right here for you. And I just want to see if you can eat this on camera. I'm gonna ask you some questions. Now, can you actually bring it up here, like so the camera can see it? I want them to see that you're actually eating this.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's raw cow heart.
So let me find a piece.
As you're eating that, though, I do got some questions that we brought. So we asked that one. We asked that one. If I handed you, no, ask that one. All right, yeah. How do you not gag eating that shit? That is insane.
Hey, sometimes
this
you
dude
might
is eating fucking raw.
Sometimes you might, especially when you're eating something new, like liver. I got a real love-hate relationship with liver. Yeah. And sometimes even though you've been doing it for as long as I've been doing it, it might hit your tongue the wrong way, and it's just like, yeah, heart is very mild, It doesn't have that strong bloody metal taste like liver does.
Is that like one of your preferences?
I love beef heart.
Okay.
I love beef heart.
I'm glad we got that for you.
I mean, red meat is my go-to, so the steak, the heart.
Yeah, I was gonna say, can you name maybe name us like your top 3?
My top 3 meats would be red meat, the organs of the red meat, and then fish. I like salmon.
Red meat is like cow.
So yeah, ruminant animals. So cow, lamb, deer, sheep, bison, things like that.
I like bison. I tried bison, but obviously it was cooked. But yeah, bison's pretty fire.
Bison's fire.
All right, let me get to these questions. How do you feel? Well, this question's not even on here, but how do you feel about like Jeffrey Dahmer eating humans and shit like that?
Yeah, I'm not a supporter.
Obviously, you're not eating humans.
Yeah, I'm totally against it.
I hope not, but I've heard. I don't even know where I heard it from, but I know I heard that they say that shit tastes good, like humans taste good.
I don't know, man. I never heard that. But
you never heard that, bro? I
never
swear
heard
to
that.
God, bro. They say that shit that humans like the best meat. I don't know where I've heard that from.
I know there's cultures and civilizations out there that partake in cannibalism,
You don't think that this could lead to that?
No.
You never like crave like human meat, never?
No, because this doesn't come from a place of like, oh, I'm craving like bloody flesh. It comes from a place of nutritional understanding and a lot of people bring up the whole Jeffrey Dahmer thing when they see me doing this, but
I have to, bro.
Yeah, no, I get it, and I'm not a fan of Jeffrey Dahmer at all.
Watching him eat this shit as he says that is insane. But all right, so look, have you heard of like I'll break it down like this. You know what DMT is?
Yeah.
Okay. You know how DMT is created?
Which one? The ayahuasca, or are you talking about the toad venom?
The toad venom.
Yeah.
Okay, right. So basically they kind of like scare the toad or whatever, and then the toad produces this DMT, right?
Yeah.
So they say, have you heard of adrenochrome? I think I might be butchering. Am I butchering the word? Okay, so you know what that is? Okay, so what is that? Let's explain that.
So adrenochrome, to my understanding, is secretions from the adrenal gland, and it's supposed to make you trip out. Have you ever seen that movie Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas where they do the adrenochrome? Never done it myself, so I can't tell you exactly what it does, but I know some shamanic people, who deal in like a lot of ketamine.
Personally?
And things yeah.
Okay.
And I get down in psychedelics a little bit. I've never done nothing too extreme,
The reason why I brought up the toad though was, do you know how that's produced?
Yeah, so they get the toad from the Sonoran Desert.
The other one, androchrome, or
The adrenochrome.
The adrenochrome. Yeah. Do you know how that's produced?
From the toad?
No, it's not produced from toad. It's actually produced. If we're talking about the same thing, it's basically like it's in the blood. So basically, what they'll do is supposedly like the elites, and this is on some rabbit hole shit, but supposedly like they would like get kids and they would terrify the kids and it would release that chemical into their blood. They would kill the kids, drain their blood, and that would be the drug. And they would drink that shit, and they would get psychedelic. It would mad psychedelic effects. Also,
Yeah,
they would
insane.
Also they'd drink it to stay looking younger.
That's
and
insane.
shit like that. You never heard that?
I never heard that.
No, look it up.
I know
Look it up.
adrenochrome comes from the adrenal gland. You know.
No, definitely look it up, bro. Because I wanted to know if you knew about that.
I don't know. I didn't know about them doing it to the kids.
Mm-hmm.
But
It's only kids. The reason why I brought up the toad was because it's similar how they produce it with the toad and how they're producing it with, or how they get that with kids.
shit.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that you can get it from like adults too, but I think that because
And this
kids
is
are younger, it's more potent.
This is ancient practice, or this is going on now?
I think it's going on now, and it was going on in the ancient practices. I honestly think it's like some crazy shit. I just wanted to know if you knew about it.
I never heard of that.
Mm-hmm.
I never heard of that.
Okay, yeah, because I feel like that's where a lot of cannibalism stems from, as well. As I think that the effects that they get when they eat human meat is just is different than animals. So that's why I think it. You know what I'm saying? It's more,
there's meat that you can eat that will give you like almost psychedelic experiences, like brain.
Really?
You eat brain and you have these weird dreams that feel like they last forever. You know?
What?
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? Shit like that.
When you
like,
eat things like glands and stuff like that, you know, like even heart, you know, you get certain things out of these raw organs that you wouldn't get nowhere else, like the coenzyme Q10, which you're not going to get that from nowhere but heart, not in the proper concentration, at least, you know.
Mm. Yeah, that's insane, man. But yeah, we hope people are not eating anybody out there.
Yeah, please don't do that.
Yeah. So, what's the wildest raw animal you've eaten thus far?
Man, at one point I was trying to go out of my way to find like the wildest animals I could, but everything's pretty standard for the most part. I eat a lot of beef, a lot of chicken. I was trying to find like octopus or just something for shock value to eat on camera, you know.
Yeah, I love octopus.
But
that's some Puerto Rican shit.
The wildest thing I ate was probably the brains. You know, like cow brains. When you hold them in your hand and look at them, it freaks you out at
first.
Does
it look like a fucking brain though? Like a real?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah,
straight up brain.
Oh my god.
Straight up brain.
Yeah, y'all gotta go follow this guy because I know he's got some crazy shit on his page.
Mm-hmm.
Would you eat a raw human steak if it was legal and disease free?
No.
Yes, you would.
I wouldn't. There's certain things I won't.
If it was nutritional.
There's certain things I won't eat just from an ethical standpoint, regardless of the nutrition. You know, I'm not going to eat cats and dogs. I'm not going to eat insects. I'm not going to eat lizards, even though it can be done. You know, it's just outside of my realm of ethics and morality. You know,
morality. Where's the morality come from?
Shit, just the way we were raised in society. You know, we don't eat dogs. We frown upon that, and I mean,
you think Chinese do, or you think it's a myth?
I'm pretty sure they do. There's a festival called the Yulin Festival where they have a big parade about it. They cook the dogs on the rotisserie and everything.
Well, a rotisserie dog is insane.
Yeah. So there's a lot of you know, there's a line that I won't cross. You know,
I can't.
Regardless of nutritional benefit, I feel like I get enough nutrition from what I'm doing. You know.
Mm. Are we gonna get any videos of you eating any? You don't think you would do like I know you say you don't do roadkill, but do you think in the future at some point you would?
No, because I actually thought about it one time, and I walked up to it was like a possum, and I kind of like turned it over with my foot, and that motherfucker was just covered in maggots. You know, so I'm like, nah, I ain't trying, you know. And I know people who do that, bro, and they eat the maggots and everything.
Are you serious?
I'm for real.
That
And
shit wouldn't grow inside of you? Because I feel like we have like maggots and parasites in us.
no, in order for parasites to thrive, your intestines already have to be impacted from some kind of disease. Parasites can't thrive in a healthy intestine, and neither can maggots. And maggots are not parasites, you know, they're just larvae. And I mean, our stomach acid is strong enough to melt steel. So the idea that some little worm is just gonna swim around in there is absurd. You know, your pH has to be way off. Your intestines have to already be damaged. There has to already be some deficiency or problem in order for a parasite to thrive. You know.
You don't. Okay, so when you see like, you know, we fucking see these people that are unhealthy as fuck, fucking bellies stiff as a rock, but they're fucking big as hell. Like, are those? Do you think people like that have parasites or?
No, I don't think they have parasites. They just have a lot of visceral fat. You know, fat around the organs that when you touch the stomach, it's like a rock. You know, and that's all fat. That's fatty tissue around the organs. There's subcutaneous and then visceral fat. The subcutaneous is like the flubber that you can do that, and the visceral fat is what makes it hard. And a lot of people have a lot of visceral fat. And
how would they get rid of that? They just got to change.
Go low carb, and 50% of it will be gone in the first week.
Yeah, and
stomach will get real squishy.
You think fitness too, like as far as like you think working out is important, or you think diet is way more important than fitness, or you think hand in hand?
So exercise is definitely important. It has a million benefits. It's kind of irrelevant in the context of weight loss and metabolic correction.
Wow.
You know, if you have a lot of fat to lose and you're suffering from some kind of metabolic issue, exercise isn't going to help you in that department. You know, it like I said, it has its benefits, but you know, it really depends on the individual what they should or shouldn't be doing. You know, if you're 350 pounds,
getting on a treadmill,
you don't need to be on a treadmill. Right. You know, there's other issues you have to address before you think about that, you know, and it could do more harm than good, you know, especially intense cardio. A lot of people think, you know, cardio is going to burn fat. First of all, exercise does not burn fat. Exercise builds muscle, you know.
Okay.
And the thing about intense cardio, you go in anaerobic and you put the body in a fight or flight state. Your heartbeat rises over 100 beats per minute, so there's not enough oxygen to complete the workout. So your body starts splitting the oxygen molecules. Now you're panting. You have short breath. That's why when you run long distance, you get out of breath, and that spikes cortisol, and cortisol spikes insulin, and insulin stops fat burning. So for people who have a lot of weight to lose, you should avoid running. You know, you should avoid doing stuff like treadmill and things like that until you can get down to a comfortable weight where you can manage it and your body can tolerate it.
I had seen something that was saying that running and cardio is actually not even good for us.
A lot of people say it isn't, and it has its benefits for the people who need it, you know, like.
But it's like what you said though, like you're putting your body in a panic state.
Yeah, you put your body in fight for flight mode. Yeah. But there's ways to do it. You know, if you do like long distance running and you just run 10 miles straight, in the grand scheme of things, it's not the healthiest thing you could be doing. But you know, a lot of people are athletes. Not a lot of people do it to lose weight or be healthy. Some people. You have boxers that need to go 12 rounds without running out of breath. You have marathon runners, who, you know what I mean? So for the people who are in competition, for the athletes, for people who need the endurance, running is good, you know? I mean, in terms of overall metabolic health, maybe not the best thing to push it too far, but you can also do high intensity interval training, because the damage comes when your body puts the wall up and you keep going past it.
Right.
You know, you do high intensity intervals. As soon as the wall comes up, you stop and start walking. Then when your heart rate slows down, you start running again. You know, there's ways to manipulate the cardio to where it's not as damaging.
Yeah, because I've seen people that ran track all their life and then end up dying of a heart attack. So that's insane. Because usually they say cardio is good for the heart. But to know that people are dying of a heart attack running track is insane.
Yeah, and I'm not saying it'll give you a heart attack. You know, them people's diets play a factor too.
Right. Okay. So diet is like, I would say, number one.
Diet is number one.
Okay.
Diet for me is the end all be all. You know, like my guy right here could vouch for it. You know, we train every day, we run every day, and no matter how hard we train and how far we run and how much weights we lift and how many rounds we get in the gym, if we're not eating right, you're gonna see it.
Yeah.
You know?
That's how with boxing, like it's something we say, like you can't play boxing. So it's like you have to live that shit. Like you have to eat right. You have to be able to stay fit. So, but look, I'm gonna keep asking a couple other questions for the sake of time. Do you think modern food culture is weakening us as men, women, and humans as a society and whole?
Oh, absolutely, especially for men and women, because when you eat too much refined sugar, then cholesterol can't convert to the proper sex hormones. This is why women get PCOS. This is why men become, feminized. They walk around with man boobs and wide hips and high voices. This comes from sugar.
Wow.
All the sex hormones and the steroid hormones, testosterone, estrogen, the androgens, progesterone, vitamin D, which is not actually a vitamin, it's a hormone. These all have to be converted from cholesterol. Your cholesterol makes these vitamins. And when you eat too much sugar and you become insulin resistant, cholesterol can't do that.
Wow.
So in the women, it can't create the proper concentration of estrogen and progesterone, so it goes the testosterone route. Women start to get facial hair and broad shoulders, and they get ovarian cysts, and that's PCOS. And
so what do you feel about like the gay community? You feel like the gay community has a lot to do with diet?
I don't know.
Because that's what's you kind of saying that women are growing hair, guys is growing boobs.
I've actually went down that rabbit hole, and I think diet plays a role in that. I'm not going to blame that on diet, because homosexuals have been around for a really long time.
So as our bad diet has been around a long time.
Yeah, but homosexuals predate even that. You can go back to the Middle Ages. They had cross dressers and all that. Even in Alexander the Great was a homosexual.
Right.
So that's been around for a while.
Alexander the Great was a homosexual.
Yeah, he was.
How do you
have his choice of any woman or any man.
You can. How the fuck do you know?
You can look it up right now, bro. Alexander the Great used to fuck dudes.
All right.
Yeah.
Have your labs and blood work changed since you've been eating raw food? Has anything changed? Your vitals and all that.
So I've never really checked my labs and blood work.
I think you should.
Yeah, a lot of people tell me that, and I probably will one day. But I kind of gauge my health by how I feel,
but you feel amazing.
I feel amazing.
Yeah.
I feel better than I've ever felt.
No, I'm telling you, bro. When I seen you, when you walked over here, I was like, "Oh shit!" Like you look mad healthy, bro. Like,
yeah,
you can't hide that. Like that shit is showing for sure.
Appreciate that, man.
All right. Do you have rules like certain meats you would never eat raw? I know that you don't eat roadkill. That's where you draw the line. But what other raw meats do you draw the line at?
Like I said,
you gotta do octopus though, bro.
Cats, dogs. Yeah, I want to do octopus. It's just hard to find it raw.
What the fuck? I get it all the time.
Raw?
Yeah, bro. Go to Jewel.
For real?
Yeah, bro. Go to deli, bro. They got the fucking octopus right there, bro.
Swimming around?
No, not swimming around.
That's how I want it.
So you want it alive.
I want it fresh out the water. Like that. I don't want it to be red, like they steamed it. I want it to be raw, right out the water.
We're gonna make it happen.
Let's do it.
We probably gotta go octopus fishing. All right, so have you heard of Liver King? Is Andrew Tate eating raw meat as well?
I don't know if Andrew Tate's doing it. I've definitely heard of Liver King.
I think Andrew Tate does eat raw meat though.
Does he? Shout out to Andrew Tate, man.
I don't think he's pushing it like a content type of thing, but I think he just lives that lifestyle though.
I mess with Andrew Tate. Liver King, so at first he came out and he had a good message. Obviously he was on steroids and most people knew he was on steroids, but the message was solid. Try to incorporate raw organs in your diet, get sunlight, work out hard. I'm with all that.
Yeah.
He seems like he got some issues to sort out now. He's been freaking out. You seen that he got arrested recently for he flew to Texas and tried to challenge Joe Rogan to a fight, and they arrested him for like terroristic threats or something like that.
I think it's like roid rage or something.
Yeah, he's been crashing out lately.
Yeah, that's what content will do. Like this fucking internet shit will make you crash out.
Yeah,
that's why I respect that you're not really like thirsty for the clicks.
Yeah, that's the thing. Part of me feels like I should be pushing this content, but it gets kind of like awkward and tiresome to put the phone down every time I'm trying to eat. I press record, and it makes you almost feel like you're doing it for the wrong reason.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. No, definitely. Okay, so if your fridge broke and everything was spoiled, would that be a feast or a funeral? I don't know what these questions are.
So there's something called high meat where you put the meat in a jar and you let it ferment. And you can do that for up to 2 years. You know. So,
wait, what? Explain that. You can't just say that.
So it's a lot of people do it with liver. They'll get like a glass mason jar and they'll get some liver, put it in a jar, put it in the back of the fridge, and leave it there for about 2 years. And every 3 months or so, they'll open the jar and burp it so the jar don't explode. You know, because
okay.
Yeah. So yeah, if my fridge didn't work, that wouldn't matter to me. You know, I would still eat the meat.
That's insane. All right. Would you ever date someone who refuses to eat raw meat or calls it gross?
Yeah.
You wouldn't date them?
I would.
You would still date them?
Yeah, I would. My girl, she don't eat raw meat.
Oh, okay. So you got a girl.
Yeah.
You got kids too, right?
Yeah, I got 4 kids.
You got 4 kids, bro. You got to chill out. So you got so with these kids, right? Are they eating raw meat too?
No. No.
Is that like a
my youngest kids, my babies, I would let them eat raw. Like my son, he ate a lot of raw meat when he was first born. My youngest daughter, she's already kind of spoiled to cook food. So once they're on the cooked food, they don't really want to go back. They don't really look back towards raw. If you try to give it to them, they'll have like an aversion to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, my kids don't eat it. My girl don't eat it, and I don't push it on them. But they do. They do have like a. My girl eats keto. She don't eat sugar.
Okay.
My kids are kind of Paleolithic. If they do eat sugar, it's not refined or processed. They'll have like fruits and they might eat potatoes, but they're not eating, you know, Twinkies and Cocoa Puffs and things like that. You know.
Yeah. I think that's a good thing that you know nutrition the way you do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. My son's calling me. I'm gonna have him watch you eat this shit real quick.
All right.
Yo, what's the word, Caleb? Hey, look, I'm in the middle of an interview. He's eating raw meat. It's not cooked. He didn't cook the meat and he's eating it.
So
say what's up.
What up, man?
Hey, I'm gonna finish this interview and we're gonna call you back. I'm gonna call you in a little bit, Caleb. All right, love you. Bye. All right, so yeah, he's a wild one. All right, so your kids don't eat meat, right? But
they eat
meat, not raw meat, right? Okay. So do you think that you're gonna eventually like transition them into it, or you think you just like where you stand with that?
No, I'm just gonna educate them, and if they want to do this, they can do that. You know?
I like that approach. Like I like that you're not really like pushing people to do shit. Because I even asked you about you pushing it on your boys and shit off camera.
Yeah.
You know, and I like that you're like, you know, like I'm just living my life, and if people want to fucking learn about it, I'll teach you. But if not, you know, shit, just keep watching me thrive. You know, I fuck with that. You know, I think that's a leadership mentality. You know, to be able to just walk the route, you know, and not tell people, oh, go this way. No, I'm gonna just walk this way. You know.
Yeah, that's the way to go for me. Like, you know, like I said, I don't feel like you have to go raw to achieve optimal health, and where most people's health is at right now. Even though I might consider this perfect nutrition, I don't think we should be striving for perfection. You know, we should just try to meet people where they're willing to meet you.
Yeah.
You know, and take it from there. You know, a lot of people see what I'm doing and they hear the things I say and they want to do this and they want to try this, and some of them have tried it. And I think that's dope. You know, my hat's off to anybody who's willing to go down this rabbit hole. But yeah, I'm not forcing nobody to do it, and I don't want to let my ego inflate to the point where I'm making proclamations that can't be backed up by science and things like that, you know. Sure. So I try to keep an open mind and, you know, don't judge nobody for how they eat, and just kind of try to lead them in a healthier direction without being too polarizing, you know.
Well, on the contrary to that, would you be able to look at the camera and try to take 15 seconds to convince somebody to eat raw meat? You got 15 seconds though.
Okay, so I mean,
Tony, tell me where you're gonna start. You literally got 15 seconds.
All right, so the benefits of eating raw meat. First of all, raw meat has more vitamins and nutrients in it. When you cook meat, you burn out the water-soluble vitamins, you destroy the enzymes and the bacteria, which you need for a healthy microbiome and gut flora. All right.
That's all you get, man.
All right, man.
Bro, I feel like that's dope. Like the way you explain this shit is like, you know that he knows what he's talking about, bro. You can't, you know what I'm saying? Because, you know, some people, they talk about this shit and they'll be like, oh, well, I heard it from here or this, that. Like, you're talking about real fucking science to this shit.
Yeah.
That's that. Like, you can't beat science. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I try to make sure that there's science to reference for every point that I make, you know?
If raw meat was to ever be the cause of death, what do you want on your tombstone?
Well, I died happy, I guess. I died doing what I love.
Yeah, put a fucking smiley face on that shit. All right, name one thing you think is more dangerous than eating raw meat daily. But you don't think it's dangerous.
The standard American diet.
Yeah. Boom.
The diet that everybody eats.
So, what are some, and this ain't even on here. What are some like nutrients that you get from raw meat? Because from what I know, when you cook the meat, you actually lose some of the nutrients that are in the meat.
Yeah.
And I never knew that.
So the specific nutrients depend on the meat that you're eating. You know, different meat has different nutrients and different concentrations, but they're all denatured and burnt up to a degree when you cook them. Certain minerals are actually more bioavailable when you cook them, like the trace minerals. You have things like zinc and magnesium that actually become more bioavailable with the cooking process. But the other things are you render the fat down, which kind of makes it harder on digestion. You destroy the enzymes, which you need for digestion. The water-soluble vitamins like vitamin B, they're gone. And you also cook meat. My main problem with cooked meat is something called advanced glycation end products, where you cook the meat and you produce these compounds where the sugar binds to the amino acids. And obviously sugar, there's no sugar in meat. You know, meat is zero carbohydrate, but there is a small amount of glucose. You cook the meat and that binds to the amino acids. And as a byproduct of this, you get these advanced glycation end products, and they cause inflammation, oxidation, and they're what age you. You know, advanced glycation end product, AGE. These are literally what make you age. You know, the browning effect. You know, we look at age through our perception of time, which is a man-made concept. What age truly is the browning effect, the rate at which your white bones turn brown. Wow. You know, and this is due to AGEs. Mostly there's AGEs that are produced in a lot of the food you eat. The highest concentrations come from sugar and carbohydrates, but you do get them from cooked meat as well.
So essentially, it's really just the cooked meat that's causing all of that.
I wouldn't say cooked meat causes anything. You know, we've been cooking our meat for millions of years. I would never make the case for why we shouldn't cook our meat or, you know, anything like that. All I can do is lay out a good argument for why I prefer raw. Okay. You know?
Yeah. Nice, man. Well, shit. Trying to think, is there anything why I got you on this couch, man? You drove like a long ass way, right? You're from Wisconsin. Are you from Wisconsin?
Yeah, I'm from Southeast Wisconsin, Racine, Kenosha area. Been there my whole life. Occasionally, I'll come out here and fuck around. But
what's your nationality?
Half Italian, half Mexican.
Bro, and that's huge meat diets in both. Oh, yeah. That's insane. Well, I mean, Italian's kind of like more on the carb side.
Yeah,
but okay.
The benefit of them over there is that their soils aren't depleted of nutrients, and most of their carbohydrates aren't refined to the same degree.
What are you talking about, in Italy?
In Italy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Like everything we eat is super refined and processed, so it causes inflammation and digestive issues, and you don't really see that when you go overseas and you eat pizza or pasta out in Italy. You know, most people can eat that and feel fine, whereas here in America, you'll eat it, you gotta take a nap, and you wake up, you know, on the toilet and all that.
Yeah.
This is good heart.
Yeah, you've been fucking munching.
It's a good heart.
So no. You know, let's take a break from the fucking raw meat and shit, because I lost my appetite. But what are like some like other rabbit holes that I guess you went down? You know, because I'm big in rabbit holes, bro. I'm not big into the meat thing yet. But you know, I've looked up like every conspiracy theory that you could possibly think of? Is that something that you engage with?
So I'm not a huge on conspiracy theories. There has to be a lot of compelling evidence and science for me to jump on conspiracy. I think our nutrition in America is a real conspiracy.
That's what I'm. Yeah, hell yeah.
So that's a big one. But other rabbit holes I've gone down are like, I don't use soap. I don't use shampoo.
Right.
I don't use laundry detergent.
Wow.
I don't use toothpaste. You know, I have a deodorant, but it's like a natural deodorant we make at home with tallow and coconut oil and things like that.
Yeah.
So I went real deep down the holistic rabbit hole. I don't cook on any Teflon. I cook everything in stainless steel or cast iron. I keep all my food in glass and stainless.
So let's pump the brakes a little bit, because you just dropped a shitload of gems. So what's the issue with cooking on, or why do you cook on stainless steel only? What's the issue? Because I heard that there's like really bad chemicals from the other type of pots.
So they're called xenoestrogens. They're endocrine disruptors, and they mess up your hormones when you eat on them. You know, when you eat from the Teflon pans, and you'll notice after you've had one for a long time, you'll see all the scratch marks in it, and all that shit is getting in your food. You know, all that shit, all them parts that used to be black, they're in your food. You know, and you eat them, and they disrupt the endocrine system. And this has been known for a long time. Even you know, scented candles and things like that with phthalates in them. That, you know, the phthalates are like if you get in a car and it's got an air freshener.
Yeah.
You get out the car and you can still smell the air freshener on you. That's the phthalate allowing the scent to stick to you, and those are endocrine disruptors. Cologne is an endocrine disruptor.
They're just trying to kill us, bro.
Soap, shampoo.
Why do you think they do all this shit to us?
Well, like I said, I don't think the whole thing behind it is like they have an evil agenda.
Yes,
I think
they do, bro.
I think some people do.
How do you do all this bad shit in our shit, bro?
Yeah.
Come on now.
But it's because they allow it, you know.
Right.
And when you can get away with it, and when you know you can make something that's superior because you're putting chemicals in it so it lasts longer, people crave more of it, you're gonna make more money, and the government allows you to do it, you're gonna do it. You know?
So it's not about it intentionally to harm us. It's more about it's a better product. It's to the audience, right? Or to the consumer. It's a better.
Yeah, America's built on that, dude.
Okay.
And I think there is two sides to the coin. I think a lot of people know what they're doing, but a lot of people, they don't. They're just partaking in what they know, and they haven't been educated to know that they're hurting people, you know?
Who? The people making the products? No,
the people making the products.
No, bro.
The people manufacturing the food.
No way.
A lot of these food manufacturers believe their products are healthy. You know, there's a big push towards plant-based, and things like grains, things like oatmeal. These are plant-based products that people push as health foods, and a lot of these people swear by them. You know, they don't have scientific backing for their beliefs, but this is just what they've been conditioned to know their whole life. You know, like. And especially when you go to a cultural aspect, even in the Mexican culture, we got rice and tortillas and beans, and that shit is all inflammatory to us. None of that shit is good for us, but we have these emotional ties to the foods we grew up eating. You know, we seen our grandma cooking them in the kitchen. It's like, I'll be damned you tell me I can't eat rice and beans, you know? But hey, if you're overweight and you got diabetes, that's exactly what I'm telling you, you know, and they don't want to hear it.
I'll give you an example, though. So with milk was something that we were raised. How old are you?
32.
32. I'm 33. So we're around the same age. Us growing up, we were raised to think milk was good for the bones.
Mm-hmm.
That is a lie.
Well, the milk they put in the store, the pasteurized
milk is insanely unhealthy, bro.
Pasteurized milk.
Explain that.
So you can get raw milk straight from a farm. It's one of the healthiest things you could consume.
Really?
Raw milk straight from the farm has all the nutrients needed to nurse a baby cow. It's got a layer of fat this thick on it, which we skim off the top because it's illegal to sell full fat milk. It's illegal to sell milk without pasteurizing it. So they put it through pasteurization and homogenization. They burn all the nutrients out of it. They refortify it with their version of vitamins and minerals. They strip all the bacteria, all the enzymes out of it. So all of the digestive components in the milk are gone in the grocery store, you know. And then there's all kind of other shit in there. They dye it.
Yeah.
So if you can get the problem with raw milk, and this is crazy living in Wisconsin, is it's illegal. They can't sell you raw milk, and that's because of like 100 years ago or however we had mad cow disease, and that's when we started pasteurizing all of our milk. And that's a practice that we still do that to this day, even though it's not necessary and it's really harmful. So I agree, the milk in the grocery store is toxic and it's not good for you at all in any way. But fresh milk straight from the cow, if you can find it from a grass-fed farmer who knows about regenerative agriculture and things like that, very healthy for you.
Let's talk about that mad cow disease. You think that really came, like, how did that even happen? Like, how did that come about?
I'm not even sure. You know, I haven't done too much research on that. But I know that's why we pasteurize our milk.
Because of that disease in particular?
Because of mad cow disease.
Yeah. Do you think a lot of our diseases we have are from animals, or do you think it's more of created in a laboratory?
No, most of the diseases we have are a result of processed foods. We evolved eating animals, you know, like this is who we are as human beings, you know, this is where we came from. So the idea that ancient foods are going to cause modern disease is kind of absurd to me, you know. Throughout the course of our evolution, we used to be plant-based primates, and I'm talking from an evolutionary standpoint. You know, I don't know what your beliefs are, and you know, no shade to nobody who's real religious and doesn't believe in evolution, but
talk your shit.
Looking at it from a biological evolutionary standpoint, we used to be plant-based primates. Eventually, we migrated out of the trees and into the fields and learned how to walk upright. We became Homo sapiens, and we were marine life eaters. You know, we would consolidate at the coastlines, and we would catch fish. And one thing about the coastline is they have these salt rocks that build up on the coast of the ocean. So the megafauna of the Great Plains, the bison, the buffalo, the mammoths, things like that. You know, there's different animals, different times. You got ice age, things like that. But the megafauna, basically the big ruminant animals, migrate to the coastlines to lick the salt rocks, you know, because salt is essential and even animals need it. And humans, being these coastal hunters, we would catch the megafauna. We started hunting the buffalo as they would migrate to the coast. And then we started eating the red meat. And that's why you see the Indians, they all eat the buffalo and the red meat. And this is how we evolved, you know, and this is what they say. This is how we developed the ketogenic metabolism that allowed our brains to grow double the size over the course of 1 million years to create human beings. You know, some people say we became human beings from cooking our meat. I don't believe that.
From eating meat in general.
Yeah, I think just eating meat in general, specifically red meat, the high-fat ruminant meat, is what made us human beings.
Wow.
That's just my theory, though. There's a lot of theories out there, you know?
Yeah, so you don't believe in, like, Jesus and all that? Because you're talking about evolution, so...
Yeah, no, I'm not a religion. I don't subscribe to any religion. I'm not an atheist. I don't deny the fact that there could be a God, but I'm not a religious guy. You know, my thing is like, there have been thousands of gods worshipped over time. Yeah. They can't all be right, but they can all be wrong, you know? So that's kind of my philosophy on it.
I feel like it can all be the same God, just different names, different.
Yeah,
you know
exactly. But a lot of
like
people,
the Jesus Christ is like story is like in 5 different religions. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So a lot of people equate God to different things. Some people call nature God. Some people say, you know, God is not man or beast; it's an energy. You know, you have other people who say God is a man who lives in the clouds, and whatever you perceive it as, there's ways to shape it to where it's like, okay, that makes sense. You know, and I don't deny any of that. Like I'm more of an agnostic. Like I acknowledge it could be possible. We just don't know, you know, and anyone who claims to know is full of shit.
Full of shit. Yeah,
they're full of shit, you know? Right. So I don't subscribe to Christianity, nothing like that. And I have a very religious family and I love them to death and they know my views. And
I feel like that's a very touchy subject for super religious people.
It is.
Like, and the thing is religion, it's like you'll tell somebody, you know, you don't know if what you're saying is true, It's a theory, and they'll get so
Yeah,
upset
like,
at you,
that's
like they'll
bullshit,
yeah,
you know, like,
they will die
yeah.
about that shit, bro. Like I swear to God, like, and the thing is that I've grown up to be just so optimistic, and I love that about myself. I love that I'm willing to be like, I want to learn about this because, you know, if this is the right way to be in life, I want to learn that. You know what I'm saying? Where most people are like, no, like my grandma, my great grandfather, they done did it, and this is it. You know, and it's like
it's just
that way of life is just so bad. Like there's no, you know,
a lot of people are like that, you know, especially with the raw meat, and a lot of people are it's off-putting to a lot of people because I think it goes against what we've been programmed to believe our whole lives, and for some people, you know, that makes them mad and they want to defend that programming, which I understand, you know, but sometimes you got to look outside the box. You know, sometimes the answers are not that simple. Sometimes what you don't want to hear is what you need to hear.
Exactly.
So I kind of adopt that philosophy, you know.
Because you tell somebody on the street that you don't use toothpaste, and they're gonna look at you like you're fucking
like
crazy.
You nasty, you know.
It's like,
all right, my teeth are whiter than most people. You know?
That's crazy though. Like even the deodorant is a, you know, they put a lot of aluminum in the deodorant and stuff like that.
It ain't just what they put in the deodorant; it's what the deodorant does. It blocks perspiration, which causes cancer in itself. By way of nature, we're designed to perspire. You know. And you block that with deodorant, even if it's natural. Even the natural deodorant I use isn't perfect, you know, but that's just one cosmetic I wasn't really willing to sacrifice wholeheartedly. Like, you know, go. There's certain rabbit holes I'm not willing to go down. You know, I don't want to end up like butt naked in the woods. You know what I'm saying?
So straight hippie.
Yeah, so I draw a line at certain places. I gotta draw a line.
I will tell you though, with it to piggyback off that, you know, there's a lot of benefits from being butt ass naked on the fucking grass. A lot of people don't even know that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
dude.
Like I do my thing where I run and I don't get butt naked, but I take my shoes and socks off and I walk on the fucking grass and I fucking sit by a tree.
Yeah, grounding.
And I ground myself, and a lot of people don't know that, bro. Like that shit will have you shitting. You'll sit there and I don't know what it does. There's a science to this shit, but it like literally grounds you. Like I cannot explain it, you know?
Yeah, grounding is the shit.
And I definitely
I know people who they'll get in the sun and they'll put their ass in the air and they'll spread their ass in the so the sun can hit their asshole, and they swear it's so beneficial, right?
It probably is.
It might be, but I'm not.
I'm not going that far.
Like there's certain rabbit holes, like, you know, even with like the EMF and the Wi-Fi, which I do believe is another thing that plays a role to our detriment.
Explain that.
And so the Wi-Fi, the radio wave, they call them EMF frequencies.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah.
So those are supposedly problematic for us as well. And there's people who I follow and people in this raw community who they like sleep in cages and they lock their phones up at night.
In bags. They put EMF bags.
So I'm not willing to do that either. You know, my kids, I got so much shit in my house. I got 4 kids. They all want to play their video games and tablets. And I'm not, you know, there's certain things I'm just not willing to do just because it's not ideal or practical in this day and age. Like,
I don't think that's something you can completely even get away from.
You can't.
Yeah, like what the fuck, we got that shit everywhere.
Everywhere. So there's certain times where you just got to pick your poison, you know?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's insane, bro. So, man, shit, I think what are we at right now? Yeah, that's good, man. I appreciate you sliding, bro. I mean, I ain't gonna shake your hand. You got all that beat on your fingers.
You good. I know.
man, where can the people find you, bro? I really encourage like everybody that follows my platform to get in tune with him, bro, because it's like, even if you don't want to fucking eat the meat, I think it's best to at least get educated on the benefits of your lifestyle. You know, this dude looks healthy as shit, bro. Like I've seen this dude fucking years ago, he did not look like this, and he's been eating meat, and now he looks like this. It's like, bro, you guys got to kind of, you know, get with the program. So where can they find you? So you can find me on Facebook, Ashton Mattioli. You can find me on Instagram, Skrilla3200. I'm trying to kind of build up these platforms. You know, they're not huge yet, but I'm starting to push more of this content and gain more followers. So, man, you know, Hit House Chicago is standing behind you full 100%, bro. Yeah, so hopefully we can get an interview number 2 and talk about how your journey's
for sure, man. Yeah. Anytime. I'll come back whenever.
Man, that's love, bro.
Thank you, brother.
Man. Hey, Hit House Chicago, DBTV, you know the vibes, man. Shout out Tony Stacks, man. Yeah, till next time.